Hello and welcome to the Scrutineer here for SimNews.TV. I'm Mike and I'm the Scrutineer for everything to know about GPVWC's Super League series. That's what this whole series is about. Everything going on at GPVWC and their Super League campaign, which is getting back underway after the summer break, only in a few days' time. So we are here looking at everything that's gone on with that over the summer break, what all the teams have done, what they've chosen for their car upgrades, what they've chosen for their engine upgrades, their engine choices, car choices. There's quite a lot to go through tonight because most teams have brought, or every team has brought something different to this, which makes it really exciting to see what's going on and has it really turned the tables in the championship going forwards. Who knows? We'll tell you as best we can though, coming up right now. So we're going to go into car upgrades straight away. So remember, Super League, you can upgrade your cars. Not all the cars are equal. You know, if you haven't learned that already, watch below. Look back at all my previous episodes of the Scrutineer here. But in the meantime, we're going to go through championship standings and tell you what everyone has put, each team has put onto their car for this event. Now remember, this could change again for the one after, but as we'll go through, quite a lot of teams have upgraded fully for this event, it would appear, which means actually next time out there probably won't be an awful lot of upgrades, but it does mean there's a lot to go through now. So we shall start off with Bull because they're leading the championship so far. They did bring upgrades here, so they brought the front wing downforce, which we've seen them do very well so far, but they've basically maxed that out now. They've also done weight reduction. So on those, that gave them 50 points worth, and that gives them 218 in total, which is now the second most developed car, just. It's very close at the top, but we'll get onto that. Second in the standings is Nordson, so they have also brought upgrades here, and they've also brought diffuser downforce and the front wing downforce. So they've also gone with front wing and they've done the diffuser. That gives them 70 points worth though, and that gives them 219, so that's 1 point more overall, and that puts them first. We've then got Madcape, who are sitting third in the standings. Now they've been traditionally the worst developed car on the grid, and they still are, but they are catching up because everyone else is slowing down slightly in development, particularly on certain areas where they're starting to nearly max out now. So Madcape did front wing downforce and they did body drag as well, and that did 43 points worth, which gave them 139. So still an awful long way behind the 219 there of Nordson, but they are catching up slightly, at least in triple figures. Hawkeye next up, so they did front wing downforce as well, like everyone seems to be doing now, diffuser downforce and weight. So they did all three there. That's because themselves and Nordson and quite a lot of these teams didn't develop for Hungary the round before, so they've almost had nearly 6 weeks worth of development, which is incredible really when you think about it, and that's why there's so many massive upgrades here. So they've upgraded 70 points worth as well, the same as Nordson did, and that gives them 217 points worth. So and they're now third development wise. So that's the top three there already on 219, 218 and 217. That's basically no difference whatsoever in those cars, but they are on slightly different areas of the development, so that's just your total figure. They are different areas that they developed, so that can make a bigger difference really than the total value. Next up though is Walters. They've also done front wing downforce and body drag, so that's 58 points worth and gives them 212. So it's not much behind either, sitting there, you know, they're fourth most developed, but you think they're only actually like 7 points behind the top car. Absolutely nothing. When one development is about 20 points, to be 7 behind is absolutely nothing. So they're in the mix as well, which is great for this race so far. Red Archer, they brought weight and front wing downforce, 31 points worth, and gives them 163. Not quite as developed for them. That's not as big a development as I would have expected. So I expect them probably to be playing the clever game, knowing what Nikos is like there at Red Archer, and probably going to bring some upgrades for next round, where the teams so far we've gone through won't be able to do that. Kerno, they brought front wing downforce and they've also brought body drag. That's 44 points worth and gives them 194. Street Fighter, they brought just front wing downforce. They haven't brought a second one, so they'll also probably bring something for next event, assuming they've done it right. So that's 19 points worth and gives them 175 points total. Adonis, next up, they've dropped down the standings, now like third from bottom, but they've done weight upgrade here and body drag. First time they've done weight, which is interesting. Everyone else seems to have sort of gone with that route already. So that might have helped them catch up. They did 55 points worth, so they've got 205 points worth on that car. So that car's a pretty good car, even though it's third bottom in the standings. It's still only like a development off the top. Storm, they're still going, and they've got front wing downforce and diffuser downforce, which are two key areas. 65 points worth and gives them 180 in total. Green Stripes Racing, popping up the table at the moment, but they've done front wing downforce as well, and they've done 23 points worth and gives them 159. So that's your whole grid there. It does seem, and hello to managers out there, you seem to be watching me here because you're all doing front wing downforce, and what was it, if you watched back about 3 or 4 episodes ago, we were saying that is the key area to be doing. fantastic, you all listen, everyone's doing it now, and that should make the grid really, really close going forward. The secondary people seem to be looking now at weight, which sort of the Walters route, they went weight very early on. Others are going diffuser, like Norton and Bob Bourne, so that could be the sort of next one to go as teams start to max out over the next couple of rounds on front wing downforce. Really looking at it though, it's so close. We've never seen it this close since round 1. So it could be massively exciting to see what these teams do. Obviously there's loads of different factors involved in this, as we'll come on to some others, but that's so many developments gone on over the past 4, 5 and 6 weeks for some teams. You know, some people vary up to 70 points worth onto your car is massive when, you know, for example, Madcave have only got 139 in total. So and some teams have put 70 points worth on just this time round. Incredible development by some of these teams, and we're not seeing any sign of it slowing down. Every team putting something on their car this time round. That's incredible. At this stage of the season, you'd normally see some teams drop off or not develop as much or start saving for next year, but because of the new way of doing, you can only do certain areas at a time, they're really still going for it. All of them, even that Greenstokes car is competitive down with 159 points worth. That's pretty good going, you can still do well with that. Let's get on to engines then, because there's also been a lot of movement in the engine market because they've had the same amount of time to develop as the teams have with their cars. We have seen Talos moved into the top, so this would have been their standard cycle anyway to be the top one. So they've had longer than the others really to develop. They've had the 6 weeks rather than the 4, so they've developed Boost quite heavily here. So they come up with 118 points in total now. So that's quite a considerable jump for them. Valiant sit on second, they've done a fuel upgrade, so that brings them at 102. And Martek's done power upgrade and they got themselves to 99. Trinity still sit on 77. Woods obviously have left the series now, so they're not actually developing that engine at the moment. Whether or not Green Stripes will choose to develop that as the only supplier, they may not. They may just stick at that 77 there. Like I said last time out, we expected most of the engines now to slow down at this stage. It might take a few rounds now before we see some upgrades going on to those cars. There might be one more upgrade out of these teams, but that might be it for now. But they're all still very close really, and they've all gone very different routes. So that Talos engine that's in the back of the Hawkeye and the Adonis is brilliant boost, massive boost certs, but not the brake horsepower. Does mean it uses more fuel potentially, but watch out because they could be incredibly fast in qualifying, because over that single lap you could use that boost heavily and really make a difference there. So we could see them right at the top, but during the race it will not work out quite as well, I'd imagine. But that's really good to see them doing that. Really mixes it up on the grid a little bit. But even with those upgrades, that assumes you've got 100% engine. Most people haven't got 100% engine here, so there's a nice mix of it being scaled back as well depending on your percentage of your engine. So we'll go through them now for the teams. They've chosen their engine choices. So we'll go through standings order again. So we've got Vodball at the top. Rudy Van Buren used that 22% engine last time and did finish with that. It was the lowest we've seen anyone finish with so far. He's now got a fresh engine bit here, would have to. So he's got 100% engine. Risto, his teammate, though, has only got 23% engine, so he's going to do what he's basically one behind what Rudy did. Norton, they've got fired up with a 62% engine. It's only done one race really. He had a fresh one last time, and Guy has got a 22, so that's very similar to Bob Bourne. They've got one with a fresh engine, one with a very worn engine. Madcape, Morris has a 76% engine, and we're assuming Roland has a 29% engine. So again, they'll all be fine at that sort of level. If you're anything over 20, you're going to be absolutely fine. But the power is going to be massively lower than you would find in the leading drivers there. Hawkeye, they've got Cooper on a 31% engine, and Euler sitting in now in that new, sitting in for Olsen there for the rest of the season now. Our double world champion previously on R Factor 1 has got a 60% engine. So he's got a better engine than Cooper, very similar to Fido, for example. Walters, next up, so they've got Baldy. Baldy's got a 30% engine, so that'll be the last time he's going to run that really. And Shranku's got a 53% engine. That's pretty good. It's looking at the rest of the pack, it's going to be right up there. Red Archer, Michael Ayers, 29% engine, so that's probably one last time there. And then the second car, which would have been Hinz, I'm hearing Hinz won't be in that car, and I don't know who's going to be in it yet. But whoever is in that car has got a 40% engine. So it's going to be on its last legs really. It's going to do one more race. Both those cars, one more race out of that one. Kerno, now Bart de Vos's car, we were also told he won't be at this round, but only missing the one round at 38%. Whereas Zapanic has then got a 36% on the other side of the garage. So again, they're both on their last one as well. It makes sense considering when you look at the next couple of races coming up. Street Fighter, Horrell, now this is the one. So do you remember a few rounds ago we had Hawkeye who just forgot to pick their engines. So we ended up with Cooper and Olsen running onto the grid with an 8% and an 11% engine, and they both failed after about 20 odd laps, something like that. Well, Street Fighter have done the exact same thing, but it's gone even worse for them because they used very worn engines last time out. So if you don't pick your engines, you just get defaulted with the car you used last time, which means that actually Hull's engine is at 0%. Like, I don't even know what's going to happen with 0%. Will it run at all, or will it just do a lap and conk out, or will it just... I don't know. We're in complete unknown territory here, so that's going to be really exciting to see. At this stage, that's his race though. That's it. You're not going to see him doing anything. Franchik is equally in the same boat. He's better than Horrell, but he's got 1%. 1. I mean, but again, that would, in theory, start the race. Cooper got to, like I said, about a lap 15 or 20 with his 8%. So in theory, we might see a couple of laps out of Franchik. But really, this is a horrendous team error where that's no points for Street Fighter in their standing at all. Very little point in turning up, really. It does mean, though, they've got fresh engines going forward. They've got a few more extra fresh engines now that they can use. But other than that, that's really a write-off for them for Germany. Adonis, Bracan has a fresh engine, 100%, and Lopez also has a fresh engine of 100%. So watch out for them with their fresh Talos engines with their all extra boost, so they could be really up there if they really went for it, particularly in qualifying. Storm, we've seen Olsen being granted permission to move, having been shafted out of Hawkeye for the Euler. He's been given permission to move into Storm's seat. I think that's a fair call. It's not normally in the rules, but there is in the rules leeway where management can make that decision if the driver appeals to them. That has happened on this occasion, and I think it's fair enough. Olsen had turned up to all the events, just wasn't getting the results, and seemingly Hawkeye decided that we needed a better driver, or there was a better driver on the market potentially. Remember, Euler is the most expensive driver on the market at 11 odd million pounds, 11.5. Granted, he's only in half a year, but still, that's still a big investment from Hawkeye side there. They're going to have to get some good results to get a good return on that. But anyway, Olsen, he's got a 90% engine, so he's got a nice, fresh, Valiant engine over there. So he's shifted suppliers as well, so we'll see what he does. And there's a new driver sitting in for, we assume, he's got a nice primary contract. We've not heard out from the team, but he's got a primary contract on the system, which is DeCitrus. Apologies if that's the wrong name. I haven't done any research on the guy yet. Italian driver, got 100% engine though, so he's got a nice fresh engine for his first event. So we look forward to seeing new blood on the grid there from Storm. Great to see them back, having missed around a couple of races ago. Green Strike's popping up the grid. They've got Lovett with an 85% engine, so that's pretty good going, and De Vries with a 76% engine. Obviously they're both using the Trinity engine, which is pretty underpowered anyway compared to the others, so that is going to hinder that team, unfortunately. But it's quite interesting that actually quite a lot of people there have chosen used engines, because the next couple of races where we've got Spa and then we've got Monza are very engine heavy, so they're obviously going to be using fresh engines there. The interesting ones that haven't been able to do that, such as Rudy Van Buren and a couple of the others in Adonis, for example, Lopez and things, they might be able to use a fresh engine again, but they'll be using through their fresh engines quite quickly, so that's going to be exciting to see as well. Spa, not so much. I'd expect nearly everyone to take a fresh engine at Monza, because it's just such a power track. So then we move on to tyres. So tyres have been playing a massive factor this year in quite a lot of stops, and people being on the wrong compounds at the wrong times, and all these sort of factors. Some people manage to make them last, like people can make the ultras last as long as the super softs for others, and some people haven't been able to make the super softs last very long at all. But we have seen quite a few stops. This time around I'm expecting probably about the same, somewhere between a 4 or 5 stop race would be my guess. Some people might even go up to 6 or 7 potentially if they can't last those tyres. Nearly every team, well, every team bar one, and that one being Adonis, have decided to go with the normal route of ultra soft, super soft, and softs. So that's their 3. Adonis, though, have chosen not to have the ultra softs. So they've just got the super softs, the softs, and the mediums. So they've got the 3 middle compounds. Means they haven't got the ultra soft for qualifying, but it might just be because they found that actually it doesn't last very long. Is it worth running it if it's only going to last in 2 or 3 laps? But they've got that. I'm surprised though, because they've upgraded the car quite heavily, they've upgraded the engine really heavily, and they've chosen fresh engines near enough. So why wouldn't you want the ultra soft tyres to really go after it? You've got a chance here to be right at the front of a pole and move out the grid, because let's be honest, sitting third in the standings, third from bottom of the standings for them is not where they expected to be this season, but they can easily jump quite high up with a few good results in the second half of the year. Still all to play for, we're only halfway through the series, so everything can happen yet. We've got Germany this time tomorrow, then we go into Spa after that, Monza, we've got lots of other we finish up around Brazil and Abu Dhabi, and Mexico coming up, and go to America. There's loads of stuff happening. Check it all out on the GPVWC.com's website. It tells you all their calendar there. In the meantime though, that's everything going on for tomorrow's race. So it's really so much information there that I didn't really expect to have to go into that much this time round, I'm afraid. But it does mean that there's so much factors going into tomorrow that you really can't quite tell yet. I'd love to predict exactly what's going to happen, but car upgrade wise, there's so many even teams now. There's about 4 or 5 cars that are basically the same car, which is great. Slightly different engines, so that's going to hinder a few people with the low engines compared to the high ones. We could see a very good race from Rudy Van Buren with his fresh engine, and Lopez, for example. But equally, that's not all be all and end all nowadays, because those engines are quite developed anyway, even if you're talking a low figure. I'm excited to see that race. You can catch it all on GPVWC's YouTube channel. I'll be watching. Then you can find all about it from the Super League show here on SimNews.TV, where Jake, Ben and Casper are catching up with that. They did do a mid-season review last week. If you missed that, catch up on that below. We've got that on our videos here on SimNews.TV. Tells you everything about the first half of the season. If you've got a good hour, grab a brew and have a watch of that, because it's fantastic. Watch the race tomorrow, and then I'll be back in a couple of weeks' time telling you everything there is to know about the race before Spa and all the upgrades and choices there that the teams have decided to make. I've been Mike the Scrutineer for SimNews.TV, and I shall catch you very soon.